InfoHub recap for the week July 15 to 19. The selection process for GCOM chair continues. Lisa Destiny sails to Guyana shores, and Intelligent Radio 95.5 is on the air. Stay with us as we look at these and all the major stories which made headlines this week.
The future of Guyana has never looked better. Our nation is on the cusp of a development program like never seen before. While Guyana is now emerging as an energy giant through the discovery of massive reserves of oil and natural gas, it is your government's intention that the huge benefits emerging from this will go where it matters most, to you, the people of this beloved country. There is a surge of confidence in the way Guyana is governed once again, and the level of investor interest is unprecedented. Guyana is poised to become the breadbasket of the region, and the pace at which this nation will grow through prudent fiscal management will be nothing short of impressive. But more than anything else will be the way every Guyanese, regardless of color, class, or creed, becomes a part of this historic period of national transformation, sharing in the wealth and well-being of it all as one Guyana.
First up, His Excellency President David Granger met with opposition leader, the Honorable Barra Jagdeo, on Tuesday at the Ministry of the Presidency. The meeting was called following the CCJ's post-judgment on the consequential orders on 2 cases of Guyana.
At the Ministry of the Presidency this afternoon, a high-level meeting wrapped up after almost 2 hours, with President David Granger and the opposition leader Barra Jagdeo agreeing to continue the shortlisting of nominees for the position of GCOM chair.
The Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency, Joseph Harmon, briefed the media following today's meeting.
It was agreed as follows. 1, that from the list of 5 names shortlisted by the working group, 4 were found not unacceptable to the President. And 2, as part of the hammering out process, the 2 names suggested by His Excellency the President and other names as may be necessary will be discussed further. The parties agreed to continue meeting on this matter tomorrow, 2019-07-17. This is a joint statement.
President David Granger explained that the opposition leader's power to name his nominees has not been impinged in any way.
Equally, when the President receives that list, he will make a choice. What the CCJ did point out is that there should be a hammering out process in the arrival of those names on the list. I think that's as much as we can say today.
According to both sides, this process will continue on July 17.
We have not as yet agreed on a time, but it's going to be a very engaged process. We're not disengaging, and therefore it's a telephone call to say, okay, we're going to meet at 9, we're going to meet at 10. But certainly we will remain engaged until, as the President says, we can arrive at a list of 6 names that is not unacceptable to the President.
Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
Still on the high-level talks, the working groups representing the government and the opposition to select the new GCOM chairman met again to continue the hammering out process.
On July 17, the process to continue the selection of nominees for the position of GCOM chair continued with a high-level meeting between the President's representatives and those of the opposition leader.
The President's team was Minister Vola Lawrence and myself, and the leader of the opposition team was Mr. Irfan Ali and Mr. Anil Nandlal. At the meeting, the leader of the opposition team presented 4 additional names to be considered and indicated to us that the 2 names that were submitted by the President did not find favor with the leader of the opposition. We agreed that the list of names that had now been submitted, the further list, will be considered by His Excellency the President, and any further directions on the matter will be given by His Excellency the President.
According to the Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency, Joseph Harmon, the process will continue on July 18.
The President's understanding of the ruling of the Caribbean Court of Justice is that in the hammering out process that he will make submissions and that he expects that the submissions will receive consideration by the Leader of the Opposition in a list that is consensual that will come to him. So I cannot say exactly whether the President will submit more names, but that is clearly something which might very well be.
From the Ministry of the Presidency, with videographer Kenny Ann Bacchus, Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
The Lisa Destiny, the very first oil production vessel to be placed in Guyana, has departed Singapore for local shores.
The very first oil production vessel to be placed in Guyana's waters, the Lisa Destiny, has departed Singapore for these shores. According to a press release issued on Thursday from ExxonMobil, the Lisa Destiny has a production capacity of up to 120,000 barrels of oil per day and an overall storage volume of 1.6 million barrels. The floating production, storage and offloading vessel is expected to arrive in Guyana in September as the country readies for first oil in 2020. During normal operations, there will be at least 80 persons living and working aboard the vessel. 24 operations and maintenance technicians who are currently being trained in Canada will return in 2020 to support work on the vessel. This FPSO is a significant component of the Liza Phase 1 development, which involves 4 undersea drill centers with 17 production wells.
As works continue on the Sheriff Mandela Road upgrade project, the Cummings Bridge located at the intersection of Drury Lane and Sheriff Street will be reconstructed.
We've got the activity commencing at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. There'll be a power outage from 8 to 3 in the afternoon, at which time we will start the process of demolishing Cummings Bridge.
The power outages will be on both Saturday and Sunday and are necessary as the electrical lines would be a hindrance to the heavy machinery that will be used to demolish the bridge and drive the piles in place. As such, there will also be a detour put in place.
The detour is simply for heavy-duty traffic, for the trucks. The cars will be diverted on both the northern approach and the southern approach. And the idea is to allow the crane, which has a hammer attached to it, to not only assist with doing the pile driving, but we'll also be doing the works with the abutment and so forth.
The Cummings Bridge area will be closed to light vehicular traffic, which will be diverted as follows. Vehicles heading towards Mandela Avenue from the Rupert Craig Highway are asked to divert into 1st Street, Campbellville, onto Stone Avenue, and into Garnet Street, where they can then return to Sheriff Street. Vehicles heading in the opposite direction are asked to divert onto Garnet Street, onto Middleton Street, into Drury Lane, and then back to Sheriff Street. Heavy-duty trucks traversing in the day will be allowed to use a bypass constructed at the bridge. This will be open to two-way traffic during the day, but at night only laden trucks headed towards the Rupert Craig Highway will be allowed to utilize the bypass. Trucks heading towards Mandela Avenue will be diverted towards Vlissingen Road. The ministry is urging the general public to adhere to the notices that would have since been published in the local papers and are currently running on the airwaves. They also advise that if there is no urgent need to use the Sheriff Street carriageway, the drivers should just avoid it altogether for the weekend. Reporting for InfoHub, Nikosi Bruce.
In other news, the most modern asphalt plant to ever operate within the region arrived in Guyana late Monday evening. Public Infrastructure Minister, the Honorable David Patterson, inspected the equipment stationed at the Demerara Shipping Wharf the next day.
During a tour of the pieces of equipment that arrived in Guyana, Minister Patterson touched on the history of the plant.
As far back as 2015, we started a process. We had a small mobile action plant, and we started that process of carrying it out of town. Then we, in 2016, we acquired additional material equipment for a special project unit. We established a special project unit, which used to be the fourth account. And then it quickly became very apparent that the volume of work that we are doing countrywide and roads, we have outlived our usual supply.
The plant will also result in reduced operational costs.
The reason is obviously we want to do it. We have a lot of work to do. We want to do much more. But obviously with a bigger, better asphalt plant, we can actually do more work at a cheaper cost.
This new asphalt plant was built with the environment in mind. Demerara Harbour Bridge Corporation General Manager explains.
So we can create an industry of recycled plastics. People go collecting plastics, chipping it, cleaning it, and sell us, we can use that as part of our mix. We can use recycled rubber. So the car tires that is being thrown away, you can take that, chip it, use that as part of the material. So this is why we're saying this plant is a modern plant and is the most modern plant that you will find in the Caribbean.
The eco-friendly piece of technology will outperform the current aged asphalt plant at Demerara Harbour Bridge Corporation that produced environmental contaminants. The asphalt plant will also present an opportunity for better services to the people of Guyana.
They will benefit from better quality roads. We'll be able to know to produce a lot of asphalt because the demand is the demand for infrastructure development come post-2020 is gonna be very, very high.
The drum-mixed 160-ton per hour bitumen asphalt plant is German-made and costs approximately $488 million. Installation of the modern asphalt plant is expected to be completed by September.
Reported from the Demerara Shipping Wharf with videographer Leon Leung, Shaquille Bourne for InfoHub.
The Guyana Police Force launched the Police Records Management Information System, PRMIS, on Thursday. The new system ensures efficient record keeping, thereby guaranteeing the information is readily available to officers as they carry out their daily duties.
It is an evidence-based approach that will vastly help regional and national institutions in that regard. So literally in every regard, what we are talking about here today is vital in the fight against violence and crime, effectively violent crime.
Premise is being made possible under the Carry Secure project, which is a regional initiative. The main goal is to decrease incidents of youth crime and violence through effective data-driven policy making and programming in the Eastern and Southern Caribbean.
Since 2016, we have had endorsed the United Nations Development Program, which was entitled Strengthening Evidence-Based Decision-Making for Citizen Security in the Caribbean. And Guyana is not the only country. I understand there are 9 other countries which are involved in this security data development. I remember in 2017 too, we appointed a National Carry Secure Task Force for the implementation of this data-driven process and policy.
The program will be implemented for a 6-month trial period at the Albertown and Fort Wellington police stations before being implemented at other police stations across the country. Speaking on behalf of the U.S. Ambassador, Deputy Chief of Mission of the U.S. Government, Mark Coulinet, said that as criminals become savvier with the growing use of information technology, so must law enforcement as well.
It is therefore important, imperative, that law enforcement officials also make clever use of technology to optimize their work in stopping the illegal activities that cost this country and others in the region and its people so much. The U.S. government is therefore very pleased to partner with the government of Guyana on the Carry Secure project implemented by the United Nations Development Program.
From the Police Officers Training Center, Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
Hinterland students pursuing tertiary education now have a comfortable space following the opening of $186 million Hinterland dormitory at Liliendal, east coast of Demerara.
The newly constructed Hinterland student dormitory caters for students pursuing education at the University of Guyana, the Government Technical Institute and the Sir Potter College of Education, among other technical institutions in and around Georgetown. Delivering feature address at the opening, President David Granger said that the dormitory demonstrates the government's commitment to improving educational opportunities for Hinterland students.
Government, through the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, has done well to make this facility available today. It will ensure a more conducive environment for Hinterland students attending the University of Guyana and other tertiary institutions. I look forward to the day when every regional town, Anna Regina, Bartico, Lethem, Mabaruma, Madia, every town will establish a first-class college to enable Hinterland students to enjoy the best secondary education and later tertiary education within their communities without having to leave their region to come here at Liliendal to have comfortable accommodation and access to tertiary education.
Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Alcock explained that the initiative was part of the 10-point plan for hinterland development, which focuses on the Hinterland Education Support Program.
We had the plan ever since we came in, and we have been able to work with this guideline, and now you're seeing the fruits of that wonderful concept.
According to Minister Valerie Guridolo, the actualization of this long-awaited facility will create an academic and vocational revolution in the hinterland.
This is not just a building. It is a vessel, an opening that will allow for the economic and social transformation of indigenous communities by the indigenous and hinterland people across Guyana.
Minister of Education Dr. Nicolette Henry noted that today's commissioning marks another milestone for the education sector in Guyana.
We know that the construction of a tertiary dormitory is not to be taken lightly, as this dormitory will provide tremendous opportunities for those students whose geographic location limit their chances of pursuing their dreams of higher education.
The dormitory has 16 apartments. Each apartment boasts a kitchen, toilet and bath area and also a study area. It also has internet access and a library, as well as accommodation for 2 dorm supervisors. In recent years, an estimated 600 hinterland students received scholarship to study on the coast. Reporting from the Hinterland Student Dormitory at Liliendal, with videographer Leon Leong, I am Sinika Thorne for InfoHub.
Despite his busy schedule, the head of state still had time to celebrate his 74th birthday. Steel pan solos, cultural presentations, and heartfelt greetings formed part of a special event held at the Buridi Benap State House.
Prime Minister, the Honorable Moses Nagamutu, Ministers of Government, senior government officials, special invited guests, friends, and family all gathered to celebrate the head of state's special day. The program was packed with musical renditions and dances. The program, which was chaired by Minister of Public Health, the Honorable Valdo Lawrence, saw Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramchatan and Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency Joseph Harmon leading the tributes.
In David Arthur Granger, we have a moral leader and a moral example. His every enunciation in cabinet or in the press or in a statement to the nation, it comes forth so very well. And it is demonstrated also by his actions.
That was the quality of the man. That was what made him, when he became president, determined that we needed in Guyana national unity, and that national unity was a priority. And so it was no mistake that the Ministry of Social Cohesion was created. So many people spoke about social cohesion, but he decided to give meaning and effect to it and named an entire ministry because he recognized that unity in this country is so important.
President Granger, during brief remarks, expressed his gratitude to those gathered for being able to celebrate another milestone in his life.
I'd also like to thank my cabinet colleagues who over the last 8 months or so have had to carry a heavy load. First of all, the Prime Minister, Carl, when he was with the cabinet, had a tremendous burden to bear. Vice President Kemraj Ramchatan and Sidney Alcock, all the ministers. I'd like to thank all the chair of the PNC and AMNA, GS, and the members of Central Executive who kept the party going. I'd like to thank Joe, the General Secretary of APNU, also who continue to work with the partnership. So I'm full of gratitude as I stand before you this afternoon to all of these people, literally and truthfully, without whom I would not have been here, at least in this shape.
He highlighted that it was on this day in 2015 the Buses, Boats and Bicycles program was started. In keeping with tradition of delivering quality education for all, the head of state presented 5 top national grade 6 assessment performers with laptops for their outstanding achievements.
Want the pick of fresh, locally grown organic greens? The answer is right at your fingertips. The recently launched Farmer Markets app will allow you to order the best fruits and vegetables from the comfort of your home. Nicosi Bruce tells us how.
In a marrying of telecommunications and agriculture, the Ministry of Public Telecommunication, in collaboration with Innovative Systems, yesterday launched the farmersmarket.gy app in Onvawak, West Coast, Berbice. The idea for the application was birthed from the annual hackathon event hosted by the Ministry of Public Telecommunication, as CEO of Innovative Systems, Richard Langford, explains.
That event had various challenges, and one of the challenges dealt specifically with farming and how we can improve the relationship with farmers and buyers, ensure there's less wastage, spoilage, and ensure that farming is bringing technology into farming.
The days when farmers were subject to the haggling of their produce to middlemen are sure to be fewer now, as this application will allow them to be in direct contact with buyers, ensuring the best prices for their produce. This is the first of many benefits that can be derived from e-agriculture, as Minister of Public Telecommunications Catherine Hughes highlighted.
High school students at North Rhineveld Multilateral and also by Javille Secondary have already developed apps that can be downloaded, and these apps are, the area they looked at is measuring the moisture content in soil. So in a very practical way, I'm showing you that already we have the young people that are that are developing these apps.
The Ministry of Public Telecommunication has been working alongside the National Agriculture Research and Extension Institute to source the farmers and verify them as well as their produce for the platform. Reporting for InfoHub, Nicosi Bruce.
The University of Ghana launched the 95.5 intelligent radio station, which will bridge gaps in the broadcasting sector for both students and listeners.
The University of Guyana's 95.5 Intelligent FM is now live.
Welcome. You are listening to Radio UG, 95.5 Intelligent FM.
Broadcasting live from the University of Guyana, Turkine campus.
Billed at $8 million, the radio station's frequency will be broadcast throughout a 10-mile radius of the university's Turkine campus, extending to Melanie Damjana on the east coast of Demerara, then Amstel on the west bank of Demerara, and New Hope on the east bank of Demerara. Director of the Center for Communication Studies, Denise Hopkinson Bram, who shared anecdotes of her time as a student at UG and who expressed her elation with the completion of the project.
We were students waiting on this, and it's finally here. It's a dream come true. Community radio is a simple, effective solution to achieve developmental goals, and also to help a people celebrate their own culture.
Minister of Public Telecommunications Honorable Catherine Hughes relayed her happiness with the final operationalization of the radio station, citing the scores of persons who have been waiting for decades for this dream to become reality.
At last, at last, at long last, campus radio has become a reality. Unfortunately, I think we came to realize that maybe because of an absence of a training facility, that we may have had problems in terms of producing the level of broadcaster that we wanted to produce. Today's UG's Communication Center is bridging that gap.
Deidre Moe, Senior Director of Public and Government Affairs at ExxonMobil Guyana, said that ExxonMobil is extremely happy as a company to play a role and be part of such a momentous occasion in the life of the academic institution.
The launch of this radio station will boost the work of UG's Journalism and Communications program and will also contribute significantly to the development of the university as a whole.
The radio station will provide training labs in live radio and TV production for students enrolled in the diploma and bachelor's degrees in communication studies, and will support more specialized training for students of the Master in Visual Communication, set to be launched within the coming months. From the 95.5 Intelligent FM studio at the University of Guyana's Turkine campus, Natisha Isaacs for InfoHub.
A guidance framework to revise the teaching standards across the region has begun. The CARICOM Secretariat is spearheading this initiative, which ran over 3 days.
The consultation fulfills a mandate of the 34th meeting of the Council for Human and Social Development Education held in May last year. The CARICOM Secretariat was required to consult with educational stakeholders in the development of CARICOM standards for teachers and educational leaders. CARICOM's Assistant Secretary General, Human and Social Development, Dr. Douglas Slater, said improving educational delivery has implications for lives both in the present and the future.
In the now, education transformation demands that we correct and address the errors of our past, where for us as CARICOM and Latin American region, education through its colonial inheritance served to limit our capacity to create, respond, and adapt.
Chief Education Officer Dr. Marcel Hudson told the confab at the Arthur Chung Convention Center that the establishment of standards for the teaching profession is critical to the much-needed transformation of the education sector.
Notwithstanding the successes that we see in our education system, it is clear that we need to continue to press on to ensure that our system continues to do well throughout the Caribbean. Recognizing the magnitude of the issues that exist in the education sector, we felt duty-bound to embark on a practical course of action to counter same, as is evident in our National Strategic Plan 2019-2023, Vision 2030.
The development of standards for practice advances the mission of the CARICOM Human Resource Development 2030 strategy to enable people as they progress from their earliest years to senior adulthood. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
Tourism is the second largest export earner in Guyana. The industry continues to show exponential growth as the influx of visitors and their corresponding spending continue to add positively to our GDP.
The net result is that travel and tourism as a sector injected approximately $62.6 billion directly into Guyana's economy in 2018. That means that tourism is the second largest export sector in the country after gold and ahead of rice.
With such a large contribution to the Guyanese economy, the travel and tourism sector has contributed roughly 7.8% to the country's overall GDP. In doing so, and with its constant rise, the sector has also created thousands of jobs.
That drives directly an approximate 8,500 jobs. That's direct employment. And then in terms of indirect and induced employment, it's a total of 22,000 jobs as estimated by the World Travel and Tourism Council.
Minister of Business Himraj Rajkumar pointed out that while Guyana was not known for tourism, efforts by the government and the Guyana Tourism Authority have changed that, resulting in a major increase in visitors to the country.
Interestingly, more people are being interested in coming here, and as alluded by Director, we received over 286,000 visitors in 2018, and this would have represented a 15.9% increase over 2017. And from January to May this year, there were a 9.2% increase in visitation over the corresponding period of 2018.
Most of these visitors to Guyana's shores come from the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom, while investment is being made by the GTA into the European markets as well. Reporting for InfoHub, Nikosi Bruce.
Boxing and football enthusiasts in Siparuta Region 6 welcomed the deployment of 2 coaches for a 1-week training session.
Sports is on the rise in Guyana and everyone must be involved. Minister of Social Cohesion with responsibility for sports, the Honorable Dr. George Norton, is ensuring that those of the Quarantine River in the village of Siparuta are not left behind. For 1 week, the athletes will benefit from the expertise of former national footballer and Hinterland coach Gordon Braffett and boxing coach Orlan Rogers. They also got some sage advice from Guyana's lone Olympic medalist Michael Paris, who accompanied the coaches to the village. On the first day, both the men and the women expressed their eagerness to get the ball rolling.
I'm very excited, and it is beneficial for everyone. The youths coming up now, everyone is so interested in sports, and I'm very happy.
I want to learn more about football. I don't know much. It's like only 2 years now I playing football serious. All the time I was playing, but it was just shaky. Don't know much, but for this couple time now, I just want to know more.
Minister of Social Cohesion Dr. George Norton observed that Siparuta is filled with hidden talent.
For us in Guyana to make an impact, we have got to involve the best team. And we could only get the best team if we give everybody a chance. This is the beginning. Persons, let's say in the footballing fraternity, might not know of Siparuta, but Siparuta has got a lot of potential, and what is more important, they've got the interest, the enthusiasm, and they are dedicated.
Both coaches said that they have high expectations of the participants who will be involved in the 1 week camp. Reporting from the Siparuta village, I am Isaiah Braffett with videographer Kareem Peters for InfoHub.
Did you know that several well-known dignitaries have graced the corridors of the famed Watuka House in Linden? We tell you more about the recently refurbished architectural treasure and its history in this report.
The Watuka Guest House is a 3-story wooden building, features an antique colonial design, and is nestled between lush vegetation and the Demerara River. The Watuka complex was built in the 1940s during the era of early bauxite production and formerly served as a club for expatriates who worked at the Demerara Bauxite Company, Demba. Now, several decades later, this architectural treasure has been completely overhauled and transformed.
The continued existence of Watuka Guest House is indeed an historical one, and it has deep symbolism. You may be aware that this 3-story building was constructed in the early 20th century for private use. It was afterwards renovated by the Demerara Bauxite Company, commonly known as Demba, to house its managers. Subsequent to this, in the 1940s, it was renamed Watuka in recognition of the nearby Watuka Creek.
Minister with responsibility for housing Annette Ferguson speaking at the grand reopening held recently. The $35 million spent by the custodian National Industrial and Commercial Investment Limited (NISL) included refurbishments to 13 suites, including the presidential and prime ministerial suites, purchasing of modern equipment, appliances and other amenities, expansion of sections of restaurants such as the bar and a complete kitchen makeover, landscaping, and general maintenance of the lawns. The rehabilitation project also included the construction of a deck and boardwalk overlooking the Demerara River and features an outdoor restaurant and bar. Some of the well-known dignitaries that the Watuka Guest House has hosted include Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in 1966 and President Fidel Castro of Cuba, among others. Some of the Guyanese leaders that have walked through its corridors include past presidents Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham and Dr. Cheddi Jagan. The Watuka Guest House is one of the best hospitality destinations in Linden and represents its rich history and culture, as was noted by Minister of Business Himraj Rajkumar.
Watuka is poised to fill the void that there's a need for quality accommodation. It has all the trappings with its beautiful architecture, impressive surroundings, and a tongue teeming with history. It can become part of the pride of Linden.
Reporting for InfoHub, Natasha Smith.
This has been InfoHub Recap, which looked at major stories carried between July 15 to 19. Remember to subscribe to our website for more stories and follow us on our social media platforms. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.